some random, semi-unrelated experiments. Firstly, noticed an interesting aspect of the dropper, and that is when it is signaled to drop, it selects something randomly within it. And so if you have one unstackable item and one very stackable item, and only those two items within it, it will pick one of the two at random, and if sent to an item hopper piping back in and a comparator reading the contents, you can have a random number generator. Which can be useful for some things, perhaps. If you need something that requires a certain probability, you can have perhaps more than one of these possessing an item. And also, additionally, item sorting. I have been experimenting with this, and I have a functioning model that's not very expensive. The most expensive component is probably either the quartz of the comparator or the iron of the two hoppers being added to 10 iron in total. Redstone is cheap and plentiful. As for the design, the input is in the top. This is the part that filters the specific items, and so the contents of this are read, and when they reach above 24 of any hyper-stackable items that can stack to 64, that would be, I think, a 16th of the total volume of the hopper. It will signal to the hopper below it to pull items out of it. It itself cannot put items anywhere, and so it doesn't need to be controlled directly. The only one that does is this one. And so once this is signaled, once this reaches a higher capacity, this pulls one out and puts one in to whatever inventory it's facing. And of course, if you have, as you can see, yes, all of these need to be filled with the same item as what will be filtered, and only the first item, I believe, will be taken out, and so all of the items will be, all the real items will be stored here. These are just decoys to keep any other item from going into those slots. And this is the only working slot then. Now, as I was saying, you can see just by me doing this that it is functioning correctly. These can be, of course, chained with hopper ducts in place of this top chest. And that would allow you to filter many items from the same stream. And then you could use that as in a sorting system to have a sorting facility, which would be very useful for item control once you have enough items that this becomes a problem. And thirdly and finally, we have the even distributor I have designed from experiments from the far past. So the way this works is the item input is here, and those will be fed directly into the hopper minecart, which will then feed into all of these hoppers equally, distributing the items. This only works, of course, if the hopper minecart doesn't run out of items before it makes one full circuit. And this can be set to automatically recirculate with this clock that's been carefully tuned to work with this. Currently, each of these is 4 ticks, 4 times 6, that's 24 ticks, well, not counting the torch itself, which would be a total of 25, and the travel of the cart itself is 9 blocks. And so as you can see, of course, it probably doesn't work perfectly, but it's very close. And of course the core value of this is feeding an even number of items into a number of furnaces so that you can have a set of furnaces all smelting in parallel to massively increase the rate at which they can smelt. Also, you can do the same with the fuel for the furnaces in a second track. This can also be used in a variety of other things. And perhaps each one of these hoppers can be part of a sorting system, and that's how you do the sorting system. And that's all of the items distributed, and it appears to be mostly even. For some reason this side is less. Must be variations in travel speed. Of course, this mechanism is far from perfect. Ideally, you would have a solid state mechanism. And of course, this can be controlled easily. And that's everything.